Motorola calls it the Moto G 3rd generation, but we know it as the Moto G 2015. Whatever you call it, Motorola's smartphone bumps up the features and keeps the affordable price tag. But should you buy it? Hey, what's up guys, it's Nirav here for Android Authority and this is our Moto G 2015 review. The Moto G design hasn't changed too much since the first generation, and this year's edition keeps the familiar design with a few little changes. The mid-plate detail makes the handset look a little bit more premium, while the metallic accent around the camera adds contrast and comes with Motorola's favourite dimple. The removable back also has a textured finish, providing more grip in the hand, while the curved design of the phone makes it comfortable to use. On the outside, this year's Moto G keeps a familiar design to past models, but adds one key feature: IPX7 certification. The Moto G 2015's removable back cover snaps into place to keep the handset protected, but it's not easy to see when you've missed one, and this may lead to water damage claims for Motorola. One of the biggest changes, however, is Moto Maker, which is available for the first time with the Moto G 2015. This year, Motorola are launching the handset in black or white, but as you can see, I've got a blue version here, with a rather nice red accent around the camera. Moto Maker lets you customize the handset design and colors to something of your choosing, and you can make the handset truly unique with all the available options. The plastic finish around the display feels cheap in the hand, while the volume and power buttons provide poor tactile feedback. The handset's vibration motor is also weak, meaning it's not the most useful for notifications, and the display itself has poor saturation and viewing angles. On the subject of that display, Motorola has kept the same panel as last year, meaning you have a 5-inch 720p LCD display that offers an average 294 pixels per inch density. Gorilla Glass 3 protection does a good job of keeping the handset free of scratches, but sunlight legibility is average at best. The disappointment with the display is the lack of Full HD or Quad HD resolution, and this definitely shows, with a low pixel density resulting in a below average viewing experience. It's questionable whether they could have chosen a Full HD panel and kept the price affordable, but if they had, it would have definitely helped with the overall experience. Given that smartphones like the Vodafone Smart Ultra 6 cost less but actually offer a Full HD panel, we've got to say we're definitely disappointed with the meager 720p resolution. Then again, if you want Full HD and you don't mind paying a little more for it, the Moto X Play is definitely a handset to consider. It's likely that Motorola kept 720p on the new Moto G to differentiate between the two devices, but also to ensure that the Moto G's price tag remained affordable when it hit the shelves. What the new Moto G lacks in the display, it more than makes up for in the hardware. The Snapdragon 410 processor is the 64-bit answer to last year's Snapdragon 400 and comes clocked at 1.4 GHz with either 1GB or 2GB of RAM. The two variants also affect how much storage you get. The model with 1GB RAM comes with 8GB internal storage, which is quite low, while the 2GB RAM variant doubles the storage to a slightly more acceptable 16GB. You can also expand the storage using a microSD card slot, and at first use, the 16GB model has around 11GB available to use. Although Motorola has included a removable back cover, the 2470 mAh battery is non-removable, but it does deliver quite good juice. A 400 mAh upgrade over last year's model, we found the handset easily able to deliver a full day's usage. Over the past week, we've had between 16 and 18 hours battery life, with around 4 to 5 hours screen on time and 2 days standby. However, a lack of quick charging means topping up an empty battery takes over 2 hours, so you'll definitely want to plan your charging accordingly. Overall, the hardware is what you might expect from a mid-range device, but in actual use, the performance is definitely a surprise given its quite low price tag. From mid-range hardware, you'd probably expect average performance, but the Moto G delivers so much more than this. The first thing you'll notice is Moto Display, which shows you waiting notifications all the time automatically when you pick the handset up or pull it out of your pocket. Moto Display is very useful when you consider how many people don't actually carry a watch and instead check the time on their phone, and it definitely helps improve the battery if you're one of those people. Beneath Moto Display, we've got a mostly stock-like Android experience, with Motorola opting for the Google Now launcher pegged to the left of the home screen. Sticking with stock Android has allowed Motorola to deliver the fast responsiveness found on other Google Nexus devices, and while it may feel bare bones for some, the slick performance is definitely refreshing. Moto Suite also adds Moto Assist, which lets you set custom behaviours for specific locations. As an example, if the phone detects you're at the cinema, it can automatically silence the ringer. Or if it detects you're driving, it can automatically speak your messages to you and let you reply using your voice. These little tweaks are definitely useful as they help make the smartphone experience be what it should be. Your phone, doing simple tasks automatically, just so you don't have to. By far my favourite feature is quick gestures, which let you accomplish simple things quite easily. A double flick of the wrist turns the torch on or off, while a double twist of the wrist launches the camera. This latter feature is a little too responsive for our liking, and often we've activated the camera just by picking up the phone from a table. The Moto G software is essentially a couple of additions to the pure Android experience, and as such, it delivers the fast responsiveness you'd normally associate with the Nexus range, from general multitasking to heavy gaming, and all the tasks in between. The handset is more than capable of handling whatever you ask of it, despite its mid-range processor. Unlike other Android Lollipop powered devices, we've not experienced any RAM management issues, and during the past week we've noticed that even adding several apps and filling the storage doesn't impact the responsiveness too much. Overall performance on the Moto G is certainly impressive, especially when considering the mid-range specs, and it clearly shows that Motorola has learnt from working with Google on past Nexus devices. For those lamenting on the lack of a cheap Nexus, the Motorola Moto G definitely delivers the performance you'd be looking for. Now to the camera, and despite the entry-level price tag, Motorola have still stuck a large camera on the back, and it's the same Sony IMX214 sensor found in Google's flagship Nexus 6. That gives you 13 megapixels resolution, f2.0 aperture, and a dual-tone LED flash, while an IR filter helps to reduce glare. There's no optical image stabilization, however, meaning photos and videos can come out shaky, and the viewfinder is bare bones and simplistic, just like on past Motorola devices. Given the price tag, the camera is very impressive on paper, and it certainly delivers, as long as you have enough light in the scene. In daylight, the camera produces colours that are vibrant and captures an impressive amount of detail. In particular, high dynamic range mode makes a big difference to images, and while some other phones do very little in HDR mode, the Moto G does a really good job in lighting up those shadows. Daylight performance is definitely impressive, but sadly, as the sun drops, so does the camera performance. Daylight images have very little noise, but a lack of light results in focal problems and digital noise. And this camera captures so much noise. Given the price tag, the Moto G camera is definitely very impressive in daylight, but in low light conditions, this camera needs a lot of work. Overall, you can definitely take impressive shots with the new Moto G. If you have enough light, that is. Motorola is dubbing the Moto G as the $180 smartphone, but the version we reviewed came with a higher price tag. The entry-level 8GB version starts at just $179, but the 16GB version will cost you $40 more. Looking at the Moto Maker website, you're able to change the colours and accents on the phone without extra charge, but adding an engraving or additional accessories can increase the total price. And if you opt for the 16GB version, the total cost can rise to over $250. Personally, I'd much rather have this really nice blue and red version, compared to all the other standard boring colours. But what options would you pick? Let us know in the comments below. So should you buy the Moto G? It's not as simple an answer as when the first Moto G came out, as we're now in a completely different era. When the first handset was launched, it introduced the concept of premium entry-level smartphones. But since then, plenty of handsets have aimed to take the Moto G's crown. On paper, the specs list isn't the best you can get at the price point, but in actual performance, the Moto G is definitely up to the task. The many positives of this handset definitely outweigh the few, and if you can handle the shortcomings in the display and the camera, the Moto G is definitely the one for you. Thanks for watching my Moto G 2015 review, and if you found this video useful or you liked the phone, please don't forget to give me a thumbs up down below. Share your thoughts on the Moto G in the comments below, and don't forget to check out the full review on AndroidAuthority.com. You can find a link to it in the description below. Check out all our other awesome videos that are appearing on the right, and don't forget to subscribe and stay tuned to AndroidAuthority.com, because we are your source for all things Android. Until next time.